Hey, what's up? Popping back with another video. We'll keep going. I wanted to say, with the with the viewing the content, I was saying that we have to be respectful at all times and thankful at all times. So a lot of the so any engagement with anything we have to offer online will be presented as positive or negative. It has yet value. And as all things that have positive and negative have value, it is the coolest thing that you have that takes electricity. It would take something of like the negative polarity of like a charge to operate that thing. So you actually can't even do the coolest, most righteous stuff as it pertains to electricity without some negativity in there. And that's I'm more so just being fancy with that, but just saying that try as we may, all things have a polar and are polar, and all things have a positive and a negative dimension. That I got that from Michael Jordan in his Cigar Aficionado interview, and I've seen it a similar statement like that in other places. But also with that, what the real line is respect. So having respect with that. But I just want to say that I'm grateful for all the engagement. But I more so now. Sometimes when you get challenged in life, though sometimes that challenge, that disrespect, that contempt, that misfortune is actually your blessing and your lifeline and your mercy and your grace. Because if you look at the way that you come back off of that, you might be better, stronger, wiser, or even in a better position because of something that originally transpired as what would be appreciated as misfortune. I got that. There's the Order Osho. He has a brilliant. He was really awesome for these cool stories that he would have, like both humorous and like to make a lesson. And there was one about a person who lived on a farm, like a young person, and they had got hurt and broken their leg, and that would seem unfortunate. And then a military conscription company came through and demanded service of all the young people that could be maybe costly to them or that they could suffer in, and so that would appear fortunate. And then they call it a vicissitude is like the wavering of fortune, like back and forth, and life is full of vicissitudes, and you could say that one favor, one blessing can as easily lend itself or set a person up for a disservice or a misfortune, and back and forth. And maybe all of life is that wavering like that, and you can't get outside of that. Other people, such as I think the YouTuber King Noble has suggested in some of his older content that a lot of our life is like it's like a function of like similar to like farming, where you have certain cycles within. I think it's called like an almanac. It's like a book about farming, the science of farming, and some of the science of farming has been pretty complex and sophisticated, even going way back before what we appreciate as the appearance of modern technology. And it does reflect cycles, and I think even like scripture would speak to a lot of that, certain recognizable cycles within processes of nature, but they also amount to human circumstance and fortune that are similar. And according to King Noble, is that a person's life will go through ups and downs and experience good times and hard times and maybe flat times, the one you can't actually have the good times without the bad times or the bad times without the good times. I wouldn't be the first one to say that. I think they say like hard times bring like good men make good times make maybe like bad men make hard times, and hard times make good men, something like that. But that's how dynamic fortune is. Or you see people who maybe they may have a like misfortune in life, or maybe a handicap or a shortcoming, and that amounts to a strength that affords them different blessings, different graces, socially and professionally, in like in terms of competence. Or you can have a person that is from a wealthy background, and their very advantage can work against them in either making them have tastes that don't work in their favor, or assumptions that don't work in their favor that amount to hardship. And then also people from a wealthy background can have hardship in the first place, and that can make them very strong and have some of the outcomes that would come from deprivation. So I've said to some people that I grew up around some people from the suburbs and people from the inner city. I lived around people in the inner city, but I also was exposed to people from the suburbs. And some of the people in the suburbs, they had a little bit harder of experiences, just because maybe they were like compensating for not being from the inner city, or you have people from the suburbs that are just simply savvy. So you can have people like from a suburban background, like even kids, high schoolers, and they can figure out how to get their hands on this and that, or they can figure out how to set up this and that party at a young age because they're actually just clever and savvy as anyone from an inner city. So I meant to say there's hardship and there's rough stuff in any environment, but it's very sophisticated how fortune and favor redoubles and contradicts itself dynamically and constantly. So it's difficult to say what's working in favor or not. But with that also are some of the engagement that we get like in a digital environment is no different than that. So you get feedback that's complimentary, affirmative, superlative, and that can set you up to be arrogant or to be lazy. That's like resting on your laurels. It's like getting comfortable with what you've already accomplished, and then or if you have detractors, people who are criticizing what you do, that can actually give you the motivation or even just the subject matter of the next thing to approach that can make you stronger and set you up for success also, whether they meant that or not. And it's similar, like I think at other times they would say, like in some of the works of Osho, he talks about like the favor and the blessings of a master, like for people who are maybe like disciples or votives. Votive is like a believer and like a worshiper of a great teacher, is that the teacher would say next to nothing to them, but if they were so blessed, they would be like hit upon the head, like struck upon the head, and that actually is a form of favor. It would seem like disrespect, but it amounts to favor, the aftermath of that. But then even that could set them up for more hardship, because then their peers see them exalted like that or recognized like that, and then their peers become jealous and start to combat them or sabotage them. So it just goes all around. So there's no getting away from fortune and misfortune, and there's nothing necessarily inherently all the way good or bad about fortune or misfortune. But I just said within all that, what counts is just respect for ourselves and others, because we can manage and work with just about anything until we start disrespecting ourselves and other people. We start disrespecting people, and then now someone or ourselves, we can really get shut down when we start disrespecting anything. Man, woman, child, creature, insect, plant, concept, name, anything, we start getting disrespectful and we can get shut down. But there's also tact and etiquette. So like sometimes I've said so I tried to approach, there's a YouTuber named Casey Zander, and he has content on YouTube that pertains to like dating and engaging people romantically and socially. And he speaks really like with nuts and bolts and like some of the dynamics of like mechanics and like personality and just different social mechanics that really I think it can get a person traction that you might not get otherwise with that type of content, just because of how he approaches it, very mechanical, but also insightful. I sometimes wonder if he might be something of a savant just because of his age and the type of insights that he's able to decipher. But I engage with his platform. He has a men's space for that similar subject. And one thing that's unique there is that he doesn't just simply allow person access to some of the higher grades of the content that's available to be purchased. You have to participate and offer insight and at least commentary, and then you earn by your engagement that you offer and that you receive. You build rank, and that rank allows you access to some of the higher tiers. And so by me doing that, it got me to be less passive about scholarship like online, and to offer insight, and that helped me develop into amounting to my own YouTube channel. But it helped me develop as a person greatly, especially with the type of things that they're talking about, like engaging people and bantering with people and meeting people. And so I would say that I became a different person from that. But it was offered as a challenge. But some of that challenge afforded me certain graces, and then within that period, I had some crucial conversations amount for me, which is just life circumstances, professional and personal, where you have something at stake, but you have maybe charged emotions and different perspectives. But being able to articulate yourself and have confidence, it greatly helps with that. So that might have been a blessing and a mercy that I was getting set up for. But I'll keep running with this.